All right, welcome everybody. Parsha Noach. Parsha Noach. Again, I am going to share with you the sefer that I am using. I am using Shulchan Shabbos, which I find is the best summaries of the Sichos of Lubavitcher Rebbe. Condenses everything into 2 pages. I made those available for you if you're joining live. And we will begin. Again, as I wrote in the text messages, inviting everybody here, there's a Hasidic saying called living with the times. And that doesn't mean the New York Times. It doesn't mean knowing all the politics and current events. It doesn't mean staying up with the latest fashions. You know, I'm living with the times, right? I got to be a modern person. What it means is living with the Parsha of the week. And I have always felt very connected to the Parsha of the week. And the way that I live with the Parsha of the week, live with the times, is, for me personally, the way that I do that is by seeing the events of the world and the events of my personal life through the lens of the Parsha. So that is what we're going to be doing in these shiurim, as I did as well last week with Bereshis. The relevance of Parshas Bereshis and the first Rashi was incredible, as well as we see now the relevance of Parshas Noach. It went around the first few psukim even of Parshas Noach, how relevant it feels, but also the lessons of the week, the messages of the week have, if you pay attention to it, are going to have relevance to what you're going through in your life, as well as the current events of the world. So with that, let us begin. So this Sicha is pinpointing something that is interesting, because many commentaries don't always focus on this, but the Lubavitcher Rebbe did this many times, where he said that the name of the Parsha has to do with the Parsha. There is nothing in Torah that is a coincidence. And Torah is milashon hora'ah. The word Torah is related to the word hora'ah, which means lesson. Everything in Torah is meant to teach us a lesson. And therefore, even the name of the Parsha, even the what we call the Parsha, has to teach us a lesson and has to be connected with the essence of what the Parsha is. So, for example, a famous question that the Rebbe pointed out was Chaye Sarah. Chaye Sarah means the life of Sarah. How can the life of Sarah be about a Parsha, be the title of a Parsha that deals with Sarah's passing? So similarly here, that's going to be our question. Again, I'm reading inside. This is modern Hebrew. It's not biblical Hebrew. This isn't the Hebrew or the Yiddish of the Sicha inside, because it's a modern Hebrew rendition of a summary, which I find very, very poignant and useful, as we will see. So, Shema Shel Parsha B'Torah Mivate. The name of the Parsha of the Torah expresses, kiyadua, as known, et tochana, the content of the Parsha. Ulam, lichora nera, but seemingly it appears, ki Shema Shel Parsha Seinu, the name of our Parsha, Parshas Noach, minugad litochna ulemuhusa, is opposite, is opposing, is contradictory to the content and the essence of our Parsha. It will explain. Just trying to admit somebody. There we go. Ha-Parsha osekes biruba be'iraim ma'atzivim. This Parsha, Parshas Noach, is busy, greatly busy, with the happenings of with like sad happenings. B'mabol sheshataf es ha'olam uvechet haflaga ube'onsho. So the Mabul that literally destroyed the world. Ve'ilu, and I'm not necessarily going to read translate every word this time, because I want to go a little faster. Ve'ilu shemahu, but the name is Noach. And what does Rashi point out, and the Midrash points out, that Noach is milashon menucha. Shabbos menucha, right? What do we know about Shabbos? It's a day of rest, calm. If you can please mute yourself, whoever's unmuted. Thank you. Yeah. So Noach, the word Noach, the name Noach comes from the word menucha, rest, calm, relaxation. Urigia here, the word is calm, right? Nicha, kedivrei hamidrash, the midrash uses the word nicha. Eich yitaken shehashem Noach menucha nikba leparsha shekol tochna hu haminucha. How is it possible? How is it possible that the name Noach, which means rest, relaxation, calm, which is the name of this week's Parsha, describes is the name of a Parsha that is all about the opposite of menucha? What's this week's Parsha? The Mabul. The Mabul was nothing like menucha, right? It was the complete opposite. Chaos, craziness, overwhelmed, the entire world overwhelmed with the waters, the turbulent, crazy waters of the Mabul, of the flood. How in the world is the name of this parsha menucha? Gam hakinoi me Noach. Not only that, it's not only the name of the parsha. The waters of the Mabul are referred to, this is from Yeshaya, it says, Me Noach. The waters of the flood were called the waters of Noach. Me'orar, so this calling the waters of the Mabul makes this question even greater. U'vechi me hamabul hayu me menucha. The waters of the flood were calming waters? That's not how we think of it, right? We think again of that turbulence. V'halo heim machu eskal hayikum. It literally destroyed every existence, every living thing, other than the fish, right? Outside of the teva. Shichasu kol basar v'shinu eskal panav v'dumuso shalom. And it destroyed every flesh on earth, right? And it changed the face of the world. That's calming waters, me Noach. Okay, so that is our question. Ella Hashem Noach morelanu es hamashmaus hapinimis shemistateres me achure ha'iruim hakashim v'haseurim. Rather, the name Parshas Noach is there to teach us the inner meaning, the inner dimension, the hidden inner dimension that is behind these harsh and stormy events. So yes, the events of the Mabul are harsh and stormy and chaotic and crazy and overwhelming. But the fact that they are called Me Noach and that this Parsha is Parshas Noach is there to teach us the inner meaning of that chaos and craziness. Amnam, hamabul atzmo, v'dor haflaga atzmam, hayu dibarim shehim hefeth mimenucha umerigia. I love this line because here there's a recognition. Yes, the Mabul itself, the generation themselves, the people of the time themselves, and the Mabul itself are things that, yes, were completely the opposite of menucha. Yes, it was crazy and it was chaotic and it wasn't like insane. That time, that event, the waters of the Mabul was not calm. If you look at the storm itself, the flood itself. Aval, dafka al yadam, specifically through their hands, through those events, ba'a menucha v'nachas ruach muflaga. Through the craziness of the Mabul came a menucha, a rest, and a nachas ruach, a calmness, a nachas ruach. What's the best translation of that? Like an emotional calm, a great emotional calm. If you are not muted, I'm just going to ask if you could please mute yourself. Mute yourself. Thank you very much. How so? Hamabel tiher, tihar, perhaps, again, this is modern Hebrew. I'm not sure the exact pronunciation at times. Hamabel tiher es haaretz, v'yatzar olam tov, le'ein aruch mizeh shehaya kodam lekach. So we're trying to figure out where are we at in this learning here. We're asking, how could the waters of the Mabul be called calming waters? It's the opposite of calming waters. How could the Parsha be called a calm? Noach from the lashon of menucha. It's the opposite of that. It's chaos. It's craziness. However, we're recognizing that although the chaos and craziness of the Mabul itself was nothing like calm, right? We're recognizing that there was something about it that brought a calmness and a rest and a peace into the world. How? That's what Hamabel, I'm wondering if I can mute whoever needs to be muted. There we go. Okay. Hamabel tiher. The Mabul purify, tiher, tahara, purification. Purify the land. V'yatzar olam tov, and it formed a new world. Le'ein aruch mizeh shehaya kodam lekach. Infinitely greater, infinitely better, in a good way than was before. HaMidrash Omer, the Midrash tells us, Sheka'asher Noach yatsa min hateva, that when Noach came out of the Teva, it said, the Midrash says, in quotes, Ra'a olam chadash. He saw a new world. Zeh haya olam shenis'aleh b'midregaso ad shehakadosh baruch hu karas imo bris. This was such a greater world, a world on such a higher level that Hashem made a bris with him. L'doros olam, forever. Is change, this product will change the face of the world, right? That's what the Mabul was. It changed the face of the world for good forever. Imkain, besikumo shel davar, hayu me hamabul me Noach, mayim shehiviu menucha. In that light, recognizing what the Mabul did for the world, we can recognize how ultimately it was a May Noach. Ultimately, it was waters that brought calm and peace and rest to the world. I just want to point out for a second that this idea of the Mabul being a purification, many commentaries explain how the Mabul was like a big mikvah for the world. Just like we know a mikvah needs 40 seah, okay? 40 seah, that's the amount of water that a mikvah needs. Though we know the Mabul was 40 days, 40 nights. So there was this purification process that happened through the waters of the Mabul. Okay. So what's the lesson? And then you should be connecting it to world events already, but I will definitely share it explicitly towards the end. But what's the lesson? And that lesson will help us also apply this to our lives and what we're all going through, the craziness and chaos that we're going through right now. Zu, lemaisa, hakavana, hapenimis, bechol, hakishim, vahanisyonos, shahadam nitakel bahem b'chayav. This is the inner intention of every hardship and every nisayon, every test and challenge that a person goes through in their life. So right now we can think, regular hardships, and then we'll bring it to our current challenge and situation. But even regular hardships in our life, the inner kavanah, the inner intent is what? Fal pi shehem atzmam divarim shlalim ubilti rituyim. I really love this part because, again, so often the Lubavitcher Rebbe would bring down, explanations and talks of how even the bad is really good. And, Gam Zula Tova, even this is good. Even the challenge is good. Even the hardship is good. Here in this talk, that's not the approach. Here, there is a recognition that even the challenges, yes, they are negative. And they are unwanted, and they are challenging, and they are difficult. However, However, they contain within them a positive, beautiful, worthy intention. Davka b'schus hakashiyim v'hamichshulim. It's specifically through these hardships and even the stumbling over them, the challenges. When a person stands, strong against them and he overcomes those challenges, he is able to then uncover the sparks of holiness that are hidden within them. Until they themselves, the challenge itself, is turned over into revealed good and holiness, and even helps him in his avodas Hashem. I want to pause here and recognize that if we were reading this right now before the events of the last few weeks, I would go into, our regular challenges and how there is a divine design in each of them, and they are for our good. And what does that mean, our good? It means for our growth. Every challenge that comes to us, from the big to the small, the little, even minor frustrations, there is an opportunity for growth. And as we know, people have utilized their greatest challenges to be forces of light in the world. So many organizations, it's not like every organization. I don't know if you can think of an organization in the world that is there to do good and positive and help people that wasn't formed out of somebody's personal challenge. So yes, when we take our challenges and we become more sensitive people, more compassionate people, and we use it as a force for good in the world, then we can uncover those holy sparks of Kedusha, and we can reveal the inner intention of those challenges. However, right now, I think what I wanted to focus on and emphasize is kind of this larger chaos that we are going through with the Simchas Torah massacre and the war that Israel is fighting right now. And as we know, it's the war on the physical front, on the spiritual front. As I've learned recently, it's not just physical and spiritual, it's the emotional, mental, informative, the war on the media war, as people are calling it, right? For us, for Jews, it feels like the world has been turned upside down. Literal raging waters, turbulence, chaos, craziness out there, but also internally. We know the chaos within our minds, our hearts, our bodies, feeling that intensity and overwhelm inside of us, whether it's, again, cognitively, emotionally, physically, we're feeling it very strongly. So to stop and to recognize from this week's Parsha that when there is craziness, when there is a mabul going on in the world, we need to stop and recognize that there is a deeper intention here. There is a kavana elyona. There is something going on the world level. The mabul was a mikvah. It was a tahara process, a purification process. And that, my friends, is what I believe is going on in the world right now. The world is going through a purification, cleansing process. If we were confused before, You can't be confused now, as we spoke about last week. It's becoming clear what is good, what is evil. And unfortunately, we see so many people who are still confused, but we see a lot of more people who are not confused anymore. And more, the world is going to be cleansed of all our confusion that we've had until now. And not just the world at large, but even within ourselves. I feel like most of us, I should say, we're confused on some level. And we gained a clarity with what happened that is not going away. And that's what I believe it means from this week's Parsha. The world was a new world. Olam Chadash. It was elevated to a new level. There's no going back to pre-flood. There's no going back to pre-Simchas Torah. The face of the world has changed. It seems everybody, knows where they stand. And we, more important than anybody, we have to know where we stand. We have to know what we believe in. And more importantly, we have to recognize that this is a cleansing process for the world, as tumultuous as it is. And that's what I love again about the Sikha, is that there is a recognition that yes, this is chaotic. And yes, this is overwhelming. Yes, this is tumultuous. There are raging waters. There's destruction. There are people dying, and it's craziness in real time and within our bodies, within ourselves. However, we must recognize that there is something deeper going on, and we will, God willing, eventually see. We will eventually see that we can turn these raging waters, Mayim Rabim, the waters of the flood, into Mei Noach, into calming waters. A world of menucha, a world of calm, of rest, of peace, of goodness, revealed goodness. The ultimate menucha, as we know, is Mashiach coming. And that's what I believe we're clearly going towards here. The ultimate menucha, as we know, Mashiach coming is compared to Shabbos menucha. How do we stay focused? And here is yet another lesson from this week's Parsha to help us with a practical tool of how to stay focused on this. Because okay, very nice. You walk away from the share and you say, very nice. Becky said that ultimately, this raging waters is going to turn into calming waters, and it's going to purify the world, and we're going to come to some ultimate state of menucha with, God willing, Mashiach's coming very soon. Amen. Beautiful. But how are we meant to stay focused on this deeper truth when we are so overwhelmed, when things are so crazy? How can we maintain focus on this deeper truth? And that is yet another beautiful idea from this week's Parsha. It's if you want to look inside, this is stated at the end of those pages that I put on the chat. However, I'm going to explain it outside. The words of the Parsha, Bo El HaTeva, come into the Teva, the ark. Hashem says to Noach, when it's time to go in, he says, Bo El HaTeva, come into the ark. Teva, the word Teva, the Baal Shem Tov teaches us, is related to the word that means word, milah, word. So it doesn't only mean ark. What does the Teva represent in our lives? What is the ark? The safe house, the safe box, the safe space that we can go into to feel that sense of calm, to remember that the waters of the Mabul are truly Mei Noach. The words of Torah and Tefillah. This is what the Baal Shem Tov says. The Bo El HaTeva means when you are in middle of the craziness in the world, when you are feeling overwhelmed by the chaos, go into the words of Torah and Tefillah and cleave to them. And they I'm saying this now on my own, but they will give you two things. One, they will give you comfort, as I think we have seen the last few weeks, the incredible comfort that we got from last week's Haftorah, the Haftorah of Parshas Bereshis, the comfort of the beginning of this week. On Sunday, there was so many messages going around. Look what this week's Parsha says, V'tisha ches ha'aretz lifnei Elokim v'timalei ha'aretz chamas. The earth became corrupt before Hashem. The earth became filled with chamas. Vayar Elokim es ha'aretz v'hinei nishchasa. And God saw the earth, that it was totally corrupted. And ki hishchis kol basar estar ko al haaretz, that all flesh has perverted their way upon the land. Vayomer Elokim lenoach kates kol basar balefanai ki mal'ah haaretz chamas. The end of all flesh has come to me because the world has filled with chamas mipneihem, because of them, because of them I will destroy them from the world. It's so interesting because before this Hamas connection was revealed, if I would have read this last year, I could have asked, why is it mashchisam, I will destroy them? Rashi even clarifies that it's I will destroy them and not destroy it. We would have thought, like, is God destroying the world or is God destroying Hamas? So here it's clear for our times, God is destroying them. God is destroying Hamas. God will destroy Hamas once and for all. So again, for me personally, the words of tefillah have been so comforting. Yehi chavod, al tira mipachat pesom. Tehillim, the words of Tehillim, it's unbelievable. You would never have noticed before how many times the word Hamas appears in Tehillim and Chumash and in Tefillah. It's unbelievable. And until now, I didn't understand why there's so much emphasis on Rishaim and Oivim and Oivei Hashem, and how Hashem is a God of war. Just really didn't understand. We didn't relate to that. We really didn't relate to that. Is there even evil in the world? We question. Everybody's good at the heart, right? We all want what's best. Here, there's no going back. We are clear what is good, what is evil. There is still evil in the world. Until Mashiach comes, there is evil and it needs to be eradicated. So there's the comfort that Torah and Tefillah and attaching ourselves to those words bring. But more importantly, I feel that it's the clarity that Torah and Tefillah bring. That in a world of craziness, in a world of confusion, we are so confused. All of us, we're so confused. Where can we gain clarity? Torah. We come back to, what does Torah teach us? What should a Jewish war look like? What is Eretz Yisrael? How do we respond to such evil in the world? We have guidance. Torah teaches us. What's mikama? What is revenge? Are we meant to take revenge? Are we not meant to take revenge? This is all laid out to us in Torah. And just because I mentioned Nekama, I'll say very quickly, God forbid this is not the Nekama of our own emotions. We are not taking revenge from our own emotions. Rather, this is the Nikmas Hashem. Again, the words come up so often in Torah and Tefillah, and we don't even recognize it. It's God's revenge that he needs to take to rectify the incredible Chilul Hashem, the desecration of God's name that occurs in the world when evil is successful. When evil is successful, there's a desecration of God's name in the world. People wonder, is God even here? Where's God in the picture? How could he do such bad? And I'm not even talking about the non-Jewish world. I'm talking about even within our hearts. Where's God? How could it be? How could such evil happen? So that is the ultimate Chilul Hashem. And when God takes revenge and fights the wars of Milchemes Hashem and destroys evil and fights the enemies of the Jewish people, the world is calmed. Menucha. There is a tikkun, it fixes that Chilul Hashem, and there's the ultimate Kiddush Hashem, where the world can finally say, there is a God in the world. He does watch over his people. And that is my greatest prayer of all at this time. that Hashem fights this war. We know Mashiach and the Hilchos of Mashiach, it says that he's going to fight the wars of Hashem. We always hoped that that was ideological, but here I feel that we need this to be real, like literal. Mashiach needs to reveal himself and literally take charge of this war and fight the war of Hashem, completely obliterating the evil from the world once and for all, and showing the world that God is here for his people. God does care for his people. God is still with us and watching over Eretz Yisrael in the most revealed way. God willing, with the most incredible miracles, we will be blown away. And then, of course, the world will be purified, cleansed of all our confusion, of all the chaos, and all of the evil and corruption and Hamas, right? And we will be able to have the ultimate menucha in those times. May it be immediately. All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a beautiful and restful Shabbos.